This channel does not promote or encourage any illegal activities. All contents provided by this channel is meant for educational purpose only.
Now guys, welcome to the news section of this course. In this section, we are going to learn what is gaining access. Gaining access attack is the second part of this network penetration testing. In this section, we will connect to the network and this will allow us to launch our powerful attacks and get more accurate information. If a target doesn't use encryption, we can just connect to it and sniff out unencrypted data. If a network or the target is wired, so we can use a cable and connect to it, perhaps through changing our MAC address. And the only problem here is when the target uses encryption like WPE, WPA, WPA2, if we do encounter encrypted data, we need to know the key to decrypt it. That is the main purpose of this section. If the network uses encryption, we can't get anywhere unless we decrypt it. In this section, we will discuss that how to break that encryption and how to gain access to the network whether they use WPE, WPA, WPA2. So in this section, we are going to cover WPA introduction, basic WPA cracking, fake authentication, ARP request replay, WPA theory, handshake theory, capturing handshakes, creating wordlets cracking, and securing network from attacks. So this is all for this lecture. So now let's start with this section. Now let's learn what is WPA, which is wireless equivalent privacy. It is the oldest one and it can be easily broken. WPA uses the algorithm called RC4 encryption. In this algorithm, each packet is encrypted at the router or access point and then sent out into the air. Once the client receives the packet, the client will be able to transform it back to its original form because it has the key. In other words, we can say that the router encrypts the packet and sends it, and the client receives and decrypts it. And the same happens if the client sends something to the router. It will first encrypt the packet using a key and send it to the router. And the router will be able to decrypt it because it has the key. In this process, if a hacker captures the packet in the middle, then they will get the packet but they won't be able to see the content of the packet because they don't have the key. So each packet that is sent into air has a unique key stream. So the unique key stream is generated using a 24-bit initialization vector. An initialization vector is a random number that is sent into each packet in plain text form, which is not encrypted. If someone captures the packet, they will not be able to read the packet content because it is encrypted, but they can easily read the IV or initialization vector in plain text form. So the weakness with the IV is that it is sent in the plain text and it is very short, only 24-bit. So in a busy network, there will be a large number of packets sent in the air. At that time, 24-bit number is not big enough. And the IV will start repeating on a busy network. So the repeated IVs can be used to determine the key stream. So this makes WPA vulnerable to statistical attack. So to determine the key stream, we can use a tool called AirCrackNG. So this tool is used to determine the key stream. Once we have enough repeated IV, then it will also be able to crack WEP and give us the key to the network. So this is all about WEP. Thank you. Now it's time to see what is web cracking. In order to crack web, which is also called as WEP, we need to first capture the large number of packets. That means we can capture a large number of IVs. Once we have done that, we will use a tool called AirCrackNG. This tool will be able to use statistical attack to determine the key stream and the web key for the target network. So this method is going to be better when we have more than 2 packets and our chances of breaking the key will be higher. So now let's look at the most basic case of cracking web key. So to do this, we will set Wi-Fi card in monitor mode. So first check it. Okay, so we are having VLAN 0. Okay, so this is in monitor mode. Clear this. Okay, so we have complete this step. So the next step is we are going to launch AeroDump. So how we can launch AeroDump? AeroDump ng interface name. Hit enter. So as you can see that we are having these many networks around us. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to see for this network, which is web. Okay, so I'm going to open a new screen again or new window. Here I'm going to give command like, okay, I'm going to give command here AeroDump ng --bssid and the name of bssid of the Wi-Fi router. So 1C18 4A 2E DC B0. So this is the BSSID of the Wi-Fi, and then we are going to give channel, which is here is 3. Okay, so the next thing we are going to write here is --. Right, so what this will do? So this will simply store all the packets that we capture into a file, which is web. Okay, now the name of the file will be like web. Okay, web 98 VLAN 0 and hit enter. So after hitting enter, it will be start storing all the data packets into that file. So it will take around 1 to 2 hours depending upon your data, your traffic. Okay, so I have already stored all the packets in one file. So I'm going to show you how you can crack it. Okay, now let's open one window again. It is looking like very messy. Don't worry, ls. So I'm having this file here, web -01 cap. Okay, copy, clear the screen, and now I'm going to run aircrack. This is the tool. Okay, now the file I'm going to paste here. Okay, and I think everything is correct. Now hit enter. So as you can see that after analyzing all the stored data packet, now it is having our key, which is the password of Wi-Fi. So the password here is 12345. So when you enter this password to the particular Wi-Fi key field, so you will automatically get inside that particular network. So this is how you can crack WEP network using this method. So this is all for this lecture. Hi guys, in this lecture we are going to see what is fake authentication attack. In the previous lecture we saw how easy it is to crack a web key on a busy network. In a busy network, the number of data increases very fast. One problem that we could face is if the network is not busy. If the network is not busy, the number of data will be increased very slowly. At that time, we are going to fake as an access point that doesn't have any client connected to it, or an access point that has a client connected to it. But the client is not using the network as heavily as the client in the previous lecture. So now let's look at an example. Now we will run AeroDump. So as you can see that I'm going to terminate this process. I'm going to run AeroDump and hit enter. So as you can see that we are having this particular AP. Okay, So the same AP that we have used before, but the difference is that we have disconnected the clients that were connected to this attack. As we can see here that in the client area, there is no client connected and the data is about to 0 and it didn't even go to 1. So the next thing that I'm going to do is to solve this problem. What we can do is inject packet into the traffic. When we do this, we can force the access point to create a new packet with the new IV which is in them and then capture these IVs. But we have to authenticate our device with the target AP before we can inject packets. Access points have list of all the devices that are connected to them, and they can ignore any packet that come from a device that is not connected. If a device that doesn't have any key tries to send a packet to the router will just ignore all the packets and it won't even try to see what is inside it. Before we can inject packets into a router, we have to authenticate ourselves with the router. So to do this, we are going to use fake authentication method. So in the previous lecture, we already executed arrow dump. So now let's see how we can use fake authentication. Now we can see that auth has no value here. Okay, it is having no value here. Once we have done fake authentication, we will see an OPN, which is also called as open, shows up there, which will means that we have successfully falsely authenticate our device with the target AP. Now we are going to use the command for doing all this step or all this process is airplay ng -- fake auth 0 a and the BSS ID of the Wi-Fi router, which is this. Okay. Now 2E DC B0. So this is the BSS ID of the Wi-Fi router. So the next thing is -h, and here we need to write our interface MAC address. So how you can write it? You can simply type if config LAN 0 and hit enter. Okay, if config LAN 0 router. Okay, so something is okay. IW config first. Yes, my mode is connected. Now let's try to do if config LAN 0. Everything is correct. Flag LAN 0 is this, and this is correct. 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, and in case here 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, so this is our MAC address. Okay, so now let's copy. Okay, and get back to our command line. Now let's paste it here, and the thing that you need to fix here is just change hyphen with this particular symbol. Okay, so now everything is clear. The next thing, LAN 0. Okay, and hit enter. So as you can see that in the case of here, auth is OPN. So before doing this, I want to first show you or tell you that what each command means here, because it is very important to understand what you are doing and why you are doing. So with airplay, we are going to use fake attack. Is this clear? Yes, this is clear. Now here, what I'm going to do here is in this attack, we include the type of attack and the number of packets that we want to send, which is -- fake auth. So we are going to use -a here, okay, -a to include the target network, which is this, okay, okay. Now after this, we are going to add -h to include the MAC address of our interface, and then this is the name of interface. So now as you can see that auth is open, so this is our target that we want to achieve. So this is how you can do this, okay. Now from the next lecture onwards, we are going to see what is ARP request replay attack. So I think you all guys are enjoying all these things. So don't forget to read this course. Thank you for watching this lecture. Now in this lecture, we are going to see what is ARP request replay attack. So AP now accepts packets that we send to it because we have successfully associated ourselves with it by using fake authentication attack. We are now ready to inject packet into the AP and make the data increase very quickly in order to decrypt the web key. ARP request replays in the first method of packet injection. In this method, we are going to wait for the AP packet and capture the packet and inject into the traffic. Once we do this, the AP will be forced to create a new packet with the new IVs. We will capture the new packet, inject it back into the traffic again, and force the AP to create another packet with another IV. We will be repeating this process until the amount of data is high enough to crack the WAP key. So now, what we are going to do here is we are going to open a new window first. Okay, so we are going to write the command here, arrow dump ng, okay, arrow dump ng bssid and okay, arrow dump ng bssid is this. I don't want to write it again and again, so that's why I use this method. And the channel is I think 3, yes it is 3, channel name is 3, and -- right. Okay, so ARP request test VLAN 0. Now, so we are going to add --write command to store all the packets that we capture into a file, which is ARP request reply test. So when it run, we will see that the target network has 0 data. It has no client associated with it and there is no traffic going through, which means it is not useful. We can't crack it for key. Okay, so to solve this problem, we are going to perform a fake authentication attack as shown in the section, so that we can start injecting packets into the network so it will accept them. So that led us to our next step, which is ARP request reply step. And in this step, we will inject packet into the target network, forcing it to create new packet with new IVs. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to simply, okay, one more time, I'm going to open one more window. Okay, so the command that I'm going to use here is, the command will be same, but the different here is simply ARP replay, okay, ARP replay, and in place of A, I'm going to use B, and rest of the thing will be, yes, okay, rest of the thing will be same. So this command is very similar to the previous command that we have used in our last lecture, but we are going to use ARP reply instead of fake auth. We will also include -b for BSS ID, and with the command we are going to wait for an ARP packet, capture it, and then re-inject into out the air. and we can then see that we have captured an ARP packet and inject it, capture another, inject into the traffic, and so on. So the AP that create new packet with new IVs, we receive them, we inject them again, and this happen over and over again. After executing this command, as you can see that this will be the result. So at this time, the wireless adapter LAN 0 is waiting for ARP request or ARP packet actually. Once there is an ARP packet transmitted in the network, it is going to capture the packet and then retransmit it. And once it has done, the access point will be forced to generate a new packet with a new IV, and we will capture, and we will keep doing this since the access point will continuously generate the new packets with new IVs. So the amount of data reaches around 9,000 or above. We can launch the AirCrack-NG to crack it. So we have to wait till the completion to around 10,000. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pause this video here, and then we will see how to see after completion of all the packets, then we will see how to use AirCrack-NG. Okay, now the process has done. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the terminal window again, and I'm going to run the command for getting the key. So before going to use that particular command, what I'm going to show you here is I'm going to show you the file where all the packet detail is. Okay, now inside the root we are having this particular ARP request test 0. So this is the file where all the related information about packets is there. Okay, so now let's try to run that particular command, which is aircrack ng and the file name. So file name you can copy from here, okay, and copy from here, paste clipboard. So this is the file. So now let's try to run this and see it will gonna help us or not. So now it has started working, and as you can see that we have successfully having the key encryption key. We have successfully break the encryption key. So this is the key that we want to get inside the network to use that particular network. So 1 2 3 4 5, and this is the version, and this is the version of SKY. So this is how you can use this aircrack, and this is how you can do all these steps and follow all these steps one by one to crack any web network or any web Wi-Fi password or encryption key using this method, even you are not having the large number of traffic. Okay, so I have shown you that we are having two methods to break into web. The first method is for heavy traffic, and the second method is for no traffic at all. Okay, so these two methods will be very helpful. So from the next lecture onwards, we are going to start with WPA. So thank you for watching this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about what is WPA or Wi-Fi Protected Access Encryption. After WEP, this encryption has designed to address all of the issues that made WP very easy to crack. In WEP, the main issue is short IVs, which is sent as a plain text in each packet. The short IV means that possibility of having unique IV is in each packet can be exhausted in active network, so that when we are injecting packets, we will end up with more than one packet that has the same IV. At the same time, AirCrack-NG can use statistical attack to determine the key stream and WEP key for the network. In WPA, each packet is encrypted using a temporary key or a unique key. It means that the number of data packets that we collect is irrelevant. If we collect 1 million packets, these packets are also not useful because they don't contain any information that we can use to crack the WPA key. WPA2 is the same as WPA. It works with the same method, and using the same method, it can be cracked. The only difference between WPA and WPA2 is that WPA2 uses an algorithm called counter mode cipher block changing message authentication code protocol. which is also called as CCMP for encryption. Now, handshake. In WPA, each packet is encrypted using a unique temporary key. It is not like WEP, where IVs are repeated and we collect a large number of data packets with the same IVs. In each WPA packet, there is a unique temporary IV. Even if we collect 1 million packets, these packets will not be useful for us. These packets don't contain any information that can help us to determine the actual WPA key. The only packet that contain useful information and help us to determine the key are the handshake packet. These are the 4 packets, and these packets will be sent when a new device connects to the target network. For example, suppose we are at home. Our device connects to the network using the password, and a process called 4-way handshake happens between the AP and the device. In this process, 4 packets called the handshake packet get transfers between the 2 devices to authenticate the device connection. We can use a word list using the air crack and test each password in the word list by using the handshake. To crack WP encrypted network, we need 2 things. We need to capture the handshake and we need a word list that contains passwords. Hi everyone, welcome to the capturing handshake. So to crack WPA key, firstly we will capture the handshake using the arrow-dump ng. We will capture the handshake in the same way that we used in web encryption network. So what we're going to do here is, first of all, we are going to check that we are connected with our interface or not. So what I'm going to type, if config and hit enter. So as you can see that I'm successfully connected with my Wi-Fi. Okay, so now let's check I'm in monitor mode or in manage mode. So for that I need to use if config VLAN 0. Now as you can see that I am in monitor mode. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do here, I'm going to use arrow-dump ng VLAN interface name and hit enter. So now we will, as you can see that here we are having this network, okay, so which is WPA. So now we will run arrow-dump ng against this particular network. Okay, so the BSS ID for this is this. Okay, and we are going to attack this one. Okay, we are going to attack this one because the power of this particular network is high. Okay, this power is very high and as compared to others. Okay, so what we are going to do here is we are going to open one more window. Let's zoom it now. Okay, after adjusting what the command that I'm going to give here, arrow dump ng. Okay, now BSS ID and the BSS ID of this particular network. Okay, so what is the BSS ID for this? BSS ID for this particular is 18 4A 2E DC B0. So this is the BSS ID. So now let me check it again. C18 4A DC. Okay, so the ID is correct. Now let's specify the channel name. So the channel is channel 1. Okay, channel 1. And then what we are going to do here is we are going to simply write fab handshake VLAN. So what is this? So we add hyphen right here to store all the packets that we will capture in a file called web handshake, and then we will include our wireless interface. So now launch this attack. So once we launch this command, we will have our WPA encrypted network. So now we will have the client connected to it. As you can see that we are having 2 clients that are connected with this particular network. Okay, this one and this one. Okay, now we can capture the handshake in 2 ways. first, we can just sit down and wait for the device to connect to a network. Once the device is connected, then we can capture the handshake. Second is, we can use the authentication attack, which we learned in the previous section in pre-connection attack section. In the de-authentication attack, we can disconnect any device from a network that is within our Wi-Fi range. If we apply this attack for a very short period of time, we can disconnect a device from a network for a second, and the device will try to disconnect to a network automatically, and even the person using the device will not notice that the device is disconnected or reconnected. Okay, so then we will be able to capture the handshake packet. So the handshake gets sent every time a device connects to a network. So now what we are going to do here is we are going to use new window here. Okay, we are going to use new window here. So here we are going to use AirPlay, deauth. Package that we are going to send is for -a and the BSS ID of the network, that is 1C18 4A 2E DC B0. Okay, so this is the BSS ID for the network, -C, and BSS ID for the client. Okay, so which client is near to me? I'm going to use for 1A. Okay, now 1A 1A 22 C1 and 02 E3 04. Okay, and let's specify the name of our interface, VLAN 0. Okay, so everything is clear now. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to launch the attack. So as you can see that AirPlay, okay, AirPlay ng, I forgot to add ng here, ng. Okay, now hit enter. So as you can see that the attack has been done. Okay, so the attack has been done. So we were disconnected for a very short period of time, so that's why we didn't get any message about being disconnected. That's why even the person using the device didn't notice, and we were able to capture the handshake. So to determine the WPA key, we can use a word list and run it against the handshake. Hi everyone, as we all know that we have captured the handshake. Now all we need to do is create a word list to crack the WPA key. A word list is just a list of words that AirCrackNG is going to go through and try each one against the handshake until it successfully determines the WPA key. If the word list is better, the chances of cracking WPA key will be higher. If the password is not in our word list file, we will not be able to determine the WPA key. So now let's see what is the syntax of creating the word list. So in this case, we are going to use the tool which is called crunch. So that will help us to create the word list. Okay, so syntax will be like crunch. You will write it like this: minimum character, maximum character. Okay, and this is for the characters. Okay, and you can also use -t pattern for the pattern. Okay, and -o for the file. Okay, for the file name. Now let's decode each and every one. Okay, so we are having here crunch. So crunch is the name of the tool, and min specify the minimum number of characters for the password to be generated. Max specify the maximum number of characters for the password. And then we are having characters. So characters specify the characters that we want to use in the password. For example, you can put all the lowercase character or uppercase characters, numbers and symbols. Okay, now -t. What is -t? T is optional. It specifies the pattern. And -o specifies the file name where the password are going to be stored. Okay, so if you know the part of password, -t option will be very useful. For example, if we are trying to guess the password of someone and we have seen him typing the password and we know that the password starts with A and ends with B. Now we can use the pattern option and tell Crunch to create the password that always start with A and end with B, and put all the possible combinations of the characters that we put in the command. Okay, so we are going to use Crunch, and then we are going to make a minimum 6 to 8 characters of password, and we are going to put okay, so let's try to write and create the word list. So you will write like this, and minimum 6, maximum 8 characters, and I will give like this is the my sample one. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to store it on test, okay, dot txt. Okay, is this clear? Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just hit enter. So after hitting enter, as you can see that Crunch will now generate the following number of lines. Okay, now Crunch 100% completed generating output. So what the next thing that I'm going to do here, I'm going to see what Crunch has done for us. Test.txt. Okay, now hit enter. So as you can see that these many possible combinations of password Crunch prepared for us. Okay, now so this is how you can create the password and use that word list inside the aircrack ng. So this is all for this lecture. Thank you. Now guys, in the last video we have captured all the handshakes. So in this lecture I'm going to show you that how to just crack the password of WPA and WPA2. So for that you need to open your terminal window, and let's zoom it first. Okay, okay, after zooming it, what you need to do here is you need to open the folder, and inside folder you can see that this is the handshake file and this is the word list. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to simply type aircrack ng, okay, aircrack ng, and the file name wap, okay, aircrack ng and the file name wap handshake 01 handshake 01 dot cap, okay, and hyphen w and the name of our word list, which is test.txt. And this is the command that you're gonna use when you're performing all these kinds of attacks. So when you click on this, it will give you the password. So it will take some time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to simply pause the video, and after the completion of all this process, so I will just repause the video. Okay.